Hi, everyone. Welcome to Faith in an Ever Changing World Encouragement and Hope Faith Story. I'm Janet Harley, your host. And oh, it is my pleasure today to have with me Bob Smiley. Now, Bob has been doing stand up comedy for over 20 years. He's toured with bands such as the Newsboys, Third Day, Jeremy Camp, and Mercy Me. He's the author of three kids' books and a podcast for Focus on the Family under the brand name The Adventures of Average Boy. He's also a massive hotel shampoo collector. The jokes come fast at you, but will always be 100% clean for you and your family to enjoy. Welcome, 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 Bob.
Well, that introduction was pretty much all the time we have. Like that
Yeah,
was
I know.
long
No. We're good. We're good.
No, it's great. I'm glad this worked out because
Me too.
it's December's kind of busy and stuff. I just got off tour with Tim Hawkins. I don't know if you know him,
Yes.
but he takes me
Awesome.
out every once in a while because he wants to see what it's like to perform in front of a sold out show.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
he'll put my name on the bill. Do
How
that.
about
So
that?
we just got
Awesome.
home from a long run all through Texas and stuff. So I'm glad this worked out.
Yeah, absolutely. And me too, Bob. And right after this, right after our short intro, we'll be looking forward to hearing your faith story. And Bob, if you will, please share with us now your faith story.
Well, I actually was very lucky. I grew up in a very loving Christian home. Grew up north of Dallas. I grew up in a town with 281 people in it. So it was,
281 people.
yeah, I had 17 in my graduating class. So
Wow.
I graduated in the top 16 um, of the class, and I had very loving Christian. I mentioned Tim Hawkins. He actually has a great line because everybody has a different faith story, and
Yes.
sometimes you feel like your story's boring.
Yeah.
And so Tim's line is, "Man, I wish I was addicted to crack. I don't have a good faith story." Like it, because you don't. But it's I look back on it now and like very grateful that I had loving parents and they
Absolutely.
took me to church and
Yeah.
it
I
was,
did too.
and they
Hmm.
didn't really force their faith on me. They just presented it like, this is what we believe. And and I always respected my parents. So I thought, well, if they believe this, then I want to look into it. And so I started reading the Bible, pretty early on, and
Yeah.
really enjoyed church. So always pretty much had a nice little faith walk. Went to a Christian college. I went for two reasons. One, because I was a pretty strong Christian, but also I figured it'd be easy to pick up girls at a Christian college. There's all these Christian pickup lines like, "Excuse me, I believe your rib belongs to me," stuff like that.
Oh.
So I went to a Christian college. Was going to be a teacher. I thought that that's what God, wanted me to do. Was that
Hmm.
I was going to use the ability. I was going to do elementary ed for a couple of reasons. One, I saw a lot of kids growing up without a strong male role model, and I thought I could be that. But I also picked elementary because I thought the classes would be easy. Like I already knew most of the alphabet, so I figured I could do well. And my junior year in college, they had a stand-up competition.
Hmm.
And even though I wasn't pursuing comedy or anything, I decided I was going to do it because they had a cash prize, which was
Uh-huh.
$500, which in Abilene, Texas, that's like 4 months rent. So
Ooh.
I did that. I won, not even because I was good. Everybody else was really terrible. And I won. And this guy saw me and he went out to Nashville to road manage. And he was road managing this singer named Clay Cross.
Uh-huh.
And Clay said it'd be fun to have a comedian come out on tour. And the road manager was like, I saw this guy in college. And so he tracked me down, called me up, asked me if I'd go on tour with him.
How
And
about
I
that?
ended up going, and I was all of a sudden out on a tour doing comedy. And then the Newsboys saw me on that tour and asked me to tour with them the next year. And so it literally turned into a career. I was never pursuing it. God honestly kind of not only opened the door, but kind of kicked me through it,
Yeah.
because like if I would have never pursued it if I wouldn't have gotten all these tour offers to
Mhm.
keep going. So first couple of years, I was just like going, all right, God, if you want me out doing this. And, he just kept offering, these tours up and stuff. And so had pretty strong faith walk all the way through, and then started doing a career. And I saw that people in the audience, if I could make them laugh, they would actually kind of lower their walls down and listen to what I would say. And so I realized
Uh-huh.
I had like a platform of being able to share the gospel if I could make them
Yeah.
laugh. And so I realized like, oh, this is pretty cool. So I started my life wanting to be a teacher, in a classroom and stuff. And now
Mhm.
I'm, out, and I feel like I'm still kind of doing that because I'm,
Yeah.
getting people to think about Jesus in a different way. And
Right.
and I really love that. People always ask me if I'd go back to teaching, and I think I would, but I think I'm also a little spoiled. I'd be like, you'll get your lesson
Uh,
when I get my introduction, and I need a water bottle and a hand towel, and what's the food in the green room? Like that,
right.
like a little different.
Right. Oh my goodness. But I know though that you have had some things that you've gone through in life, your divorce, and so if
Yeah.
you could tell us a little bit about that and about your faith through that.
Yeah, you and I were actually talking before we started the live show of how if you're out, trying to bring joy to people, and trying to promote the gospel, especially, it seems you get a target on your back pretty
Yeah.
quickly. And yeah, so about, man, I think it was like 8 years ago now, or 7 years ago. But yeah, I was married. I was married for almost 18 years. She
Mm.
met somebody else with way bigger bank accounts. And so she
Oh.
left, and she's
Mm.
married to the dude, and is very
Yeah.
wealthy and happy, I guess, and all that.
Right.
But yeah, for a while I was a single dad. We had 3 kids and
Oh.
3 boys. And so it was a real test of my faith, because I'd been traveling around for 17 years, telling people, standing on stage and actually telling people like, God can get you through anything. He can get you through anything. But
Mm.
honestly, I I pretty much had a mountaintop experience all through life with, loving family, and ended up going to, get into a career I never thought was possible, and traveling around and making people laugh, and
Yeah.
families, it's all clean comedy. So families could come. So it was this pretty awesome life without a lot of problems. And then all of a sudden, our world kind of just imploded. And it was, me and my boys, and trying to figure
Yeah.
all that out. And I really had to have that moment of faith of like, okay, I've been telling everybody that God can get you through anything.
Yeah.
Now it's time for me to, put my money where my mouth is.
Right.
Not money where my mouth is, because she took all the money, but she but it was time to, really say, all right, am I going to still trust in God, that God's in control,
Yeah.
and he can get
Yeah.
us through. And he really did. He just like got us through it. I talk about this a little bit. I don't talk about it now, but at the time I would talk about how we would read the Bible. Me and my boys, we'd read the Bible. And I was reading the story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
Hmm.
And I'd read that story hundreds of times.
Yeah.
And I remember we were sitting in our kitchen and we were reading, and all of a sudden it dawned on me that God actually saved them in the fire,
Right.
but not from the fire. That had
Hmm.
never stood out to me,
Yeah.
because all through my life, I'd really never been in the fire before. And all of a sudden, reading that, it was like it was a new story to me, because me and my boys were in the fire at the
Yeah.
moment. And I realized like, oh, and he did. People, there were people from my church that it, the whole thing, it split 2 families in our church. So
Yeah.
there was a lot of people at our church that I thought would, have my back or support me and stuff, that didn't. And that was kind of
Mm.
disappointing.
Yeah.
But then there were people at the church that I never would have thought would have even cared about us, that all of a
Mhm.
sudden would start bringing food over, because I'm
Wow.
trying to raise my kids. I'm trying to teach them, all the stuff that,
Yeah.
how to do dishes and how to do laundry.
Yeah.
That's actually a bad example because we can do it all at once. We have a huge pool. But like people would bring food over and people would pray for us. On Facebook and Instagram, I would get all
Yeah.
these messages of, "Hey, I was just out walking and God told me to pray for you guys this night." And it would be a night where, one of my kids were really upset, or,
Right.
something would be going on. And
When you really needed that prayer.
yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. And
Mm.
a lot of times the way God got us through it was just letting us know that we weren't alone.
Mm.
I didn't mean to make this whole thing about Tim Hawkins, but he's my best friend. And so when it happened, when she left, he was the first person I called, and he gave me some great advice. He was like, "Do not go through this alone." And then he told me that I could call his butler anytime that I got lonely. No, that's not true. That's not true. But he told me, he was like, "Man, don't go through this alone, because we're built for community." And as you talk about your faith and stuff, we really are built for community and to share,
We
in
are.
each other's
Mhm.
rejoicement. Rejoicements, is that a word? I don't know. I went to public
It
school,
is now.
but yeah, we'll make it a word. But sharing people's joy, but also, man, even the tough times, that's when we were built for
Absolutely.
community. And so he encouraged me to pick up the phone anytime. And, a lot of my other comedian friends were like, "Man, just because and Satan loves isolation.
Yes.
He can break apart your
Mhm.
faith so much quicker if
Yep.
he can isolate you." And so I realized that that was a trap, because I would get the kids off to school and then I would just sit in this empty house.
Right.
And I just realized, like, this cloud of depression would
Yeah.
come over me. And and that's when I'd pick up the phone and I'd call, friend Darren Streblo or Hawkins, or, some of those guys and just be with them, just hang out and just talk and
Mhm.
stuff like
Yep.
that. So it really helped getting, and then again, just going back to the word and reading
Absolutely.
Psalms. And, times when people
Mm.
were going through troubled times, but they were still saying, I'm still gonna rejoice in the Lord. I'm still gonna,
Yeah.
have faith that He is gonna
Yes.
get through it. And he did. He got us through that, troubling time. And,
Yep.
things are great. And, we're so I did get married. I met this lady. It was weird. I met her online, which I guess is how you meet people, like, yeah. But yeah, about four years ago. Yeah,
Oh, man.
we met on MySpace. It was awesome. We were the only two left on there. So yeah, and she has two kids. So it's
Ah.
so we have five boys now. Actually,
Oh,
that's a
wow.
good. Okay, here's a good story. This is how amazing my wife is. 'Cause my wife is she loves Jesus so much, and she has two
Oh.
boys. And the first time I talked to her on the phone, I said, how many kids do you have? And she goes, "I have two." And I don't know why I said this, but I go, "Oh." And she goes, "What do you mean, oh?" And I was like, "Well," and I can't believe I said this, but I said, "Well, I don't know if I want more kids." And this is what she said. I know it's a horrible thing to say, but this is what she
Oh,
said.
my goodness.
She goes, "No matter what happens between you and me, like, I hope you have the mentality of two more kids is two more opportunities to love and to be loved. And it's two more
Oh,
opportunities to
oh,
allow kids to see what a heavenly father's love looks like
yeah.
through an earthly father."
Oh,
Isn't that beautiful? And then she
yes,
said,
that
"How many
is
kids do you have?"
beautiful.
And I said, "3," and we got disconnected really quick. But I was able to get her back on the phone, and yeah, she's an amazing woman. So it's a true testimony.
Oh,
If
my
you have
goodness.
faith, because God, like, I think a lot of times people want to limit God in their
Yeah,
faith of, like,
yeah,
well, I
that's
hope you can
very true.
handle it, God, but if you can't, then I'll, try to handle it on my own and stuff. And that's not where we're created to
Yeah,
be. Like,
that's
we
right.
we need to have true faith that He will get you through it. And if it doesn't look like you think it's going to look, because my life does not look at all of what I thought it was going to look like.
Yeah.
I did all the right things, met a, supposed to be a really strong Christian lady and have
Hmm.
kids, and I was in a
Yeah.
career where I was promoting the gospel and all that. So it doesn't look at all like I thought it was going to look like. But honestly, like God's plan, like He got me on this path and
Right.
it really is great now. Like I know Jesus more now because of
Mhm.
my wife. You know, I'm way more compassionate about people that are going through troubling times because now
Yeah.
I've been there. You know, I
Mhm.
think I went through that experience, and I think God is able to say that, you know, okay, we're going to take this
Yeah.
and use it to encourage other people. And, you know, I wasn't really going to talk about it on stage. And it's a big taboo topic of being divorced. You know, a lot of churches don't really know how to handle that.
Right.
And so I wasn't even going to talk about it. And I actually had a church here in Houston, like hear that I was going through it and ask me to come and talk about it at a show, you know. So it was a comedy show, but it was, you know, they wanted me to encourage people because marriages are under attack. Like, you know,
Absolutely.
Satan, if he can destroy one marriage, that's great. If
Amen.
he can destroy two marriages at the same time, then he definitely is winning, you know. And so
Yeah.
they wanted me to kind of come and encourage people, and so I did. And I was so impressed with how many married couples would come up after that show and be like, "Man, we're struggling," and it's so refreshing to hear somebody talk about it,
Oh,
you know. And then the second time I talked about it, I went to Michigan and I was doing a show in Michigan. And so I wasn't planning again to talk about it. And I was like, man, God can get you through anything. I'm here to tell
yeah.
you, like, we're going through it. But he's, you know, he's going to get us through. And I walked off stage. I went to my merch table, which is all available at bobsmiley.com. Got to put that in. Um, but I went to my merch table and there was a guy standing there and he was kind of like shaking, like he was like angry or something. And I was like, here comes the flack of, you know, you shouldn't be talking about this stuff and all that. And he grabbed my shoulders and he goes, my wife left me yesterday. And he
Oh.
said, and he was just kind of breaking down. And he was like, I did not want to come to the show. I don't know who you are,
Mhm.
but I did not expect to hear one, like I didn't expect I was going to laugh. You know, I didn't think I was going to laugh for a long time. And you made me laugh, but I didn't think I was going to hear a message of hope.
Yeah.
But now I feel like I can get through it. And a lot of that I talked about that night was about community, about like we need to, you know, help each other out and stuff. And his friend made him go to that show. And he was like, I didn't realize, like, I'm not
Yeah.
doing this alone. I have a friend that's invested in helping me, you know, get out and stuff. And so you could just see his faith was getting stronger because he was seeing like God was going to walk him through it.
Mhm.
You know, that
Mhm.
was kind of my faith walk as well. Is like for
Yes.
years I've been
Absolutely.
telling people that God
Yeah.
can get you through it, but I never really had to, you know, that tested out. And
Mhm.
honestly, like he did, he got us through it. And you know,
That's wonderful. And he does. He will walk through the fire with you.
yeah,
Absolutely.
it says in Malachi, I think it's the only time that God actually kind of challenges us. He says in Malachi, give the full tithe to me and see if I don't open up the floodgates.
Mm.
And I think if you truly like just lay it all out to God and be
Mhm.
like, okay, you know, I'm
Surrender.
struggling, you know, I'm going through this stuff. I'm giving you praise. I'm giving you, you know, my
Yep.
entire faith is focused on you and stuff.
Yeah.
I think he will open up floodgates. Now, I want to be very clear. That doesn't mean he's going to immediately fix everything and, you know,
Right.
your bank
Right.
account's going to fill back
No,
up and
just
all that kind of stuff. But he's going to give
yeah.
you your daily
Mhm.
bread. He's going to
Yeah.
give you what you need to
Yeah.
get through life. And that's so reassuring. Like that's so
Mm.
reassuring that you're going to get your daily bread. You're going to get
Absolutely.
what you need to get through life. It's, you know, it's
Absolutely.
amazing.
Absolutely. It is amazing. And it, before we leave, Bob, what is one way that we can hold on to our faith in this ever-changing world?
Yeah, that's a great question. I tell this joke on stage, but it's true. My grandmother pulled me aside one time, and she was like, "Read the Bible when you're young, because it has all of life's answers." And young kids don't ever read the Bible, and elderly people are reading it like crazy because it's like they're trying to cram for a final. And you know that made me laugh, but I like read the Bible, and that sounds like such a simple thing,
Yeah,
but just going to the word just reminds
absolutely.
you like God's plan throughout eternity, and that you're not insignificant, that he has created you with a path and a plan
Mm,
that he has for you. And I think, if you're struggling and stuff, go to the word, and we have a direct line to God. We can talk to him,
absolutely.
like even when you're going to sleep at night, you can pray to God even until you fall asleep. I used to think that'd make God mad, but you can pray till you fall. Because if I was God, I'd be like, did he just fall asleep? I think a little Charlie horse would wake him up. But you can, I mean, just be in constant communication with the
Absolutely.
creator of the entire world. Like, what a
Yeah.
gift that is. Like, that's just amazing. So I would say that. I would say being prayer, go into the word daily just to be reminded of just that God loves you.
Mm.
And the third thing is just, go to bobsmiley.com.
That's right. That's right. Thank you, Bob. And I will put that website down in the comment
Mm,
section. But thank you so much for sharing your faith story with us today, and bringing a little laughter to us as well.
mm.
Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Yeah. And thank you all for watching. And I also want to mention Creative Motion Network that I'm on, and what a great family that network is. And I want to say hello and thank you for watching as well. Have faith and look up, friends, where our help comes from. Bye. God bless.